Psalms. '95. God had one major pet peeve. His people. I'll read the story here, okay? I told Shelley the other day, so I think sometimes I do better if I didn't call the text. And just read to you, let you just listen without reading. Sometimes Satan can miss the message reading during the message. I'm trying to figure out if God's going to hit you or not. Can't do that. I've seen God knock us out with a little innocent text. Kind of look just real harmless. Comes the left hook and knocks us out. And I've seen God bless us a knockout text. So I'm trying to figure out where he's going. All right? But this sin of Israel God was major, and God is such a word efficiency. He can say a whole lot with just a few words. The Bible is a problem for most folks because it seems like it's so much. You know, there's so much stuff. And it really isn't. The Bible has one purpose. And one point to make. I've told you many times that God did not write the Bible to make you a better person. You can't read the Bible to become a better person. If you go into it with that idea in mind, you're going to feel terrible when you get done. All it's going to do is expose how rotten you are. It will not make you better, it'll demoralize you. You just say, "I'll forget it." Okay? That was his point. Come on. He had one purpose, write the scriptures, and just one point. He makes it, in this psalm here, he makes his point in Hebrews chapter 11. He says in Hebrews, without faith. That's what it said.
It's impossible to please God.
It's impossible to please God. That summarizes the whole program with God. When you look at that for its very worth, it's saying that your performance doesn't mean duty to God. Even if it's good. Even if your performance is perfect, God is not recognizing it at all. That should be good news to everybody. Right? Y'all put a smile on your face. Y'all be saying, that's good. Right?
That's right.
If you think otherwise, you got your head messed up. You think you're better than most, you're really messed up. Because he set the record straight up. He said what? He said, all have sinned. And everybody came short, and that's all God's measure of my standard. That puts you in your place, doesn't it?
That's right.
I came short, and the church recorded. So everybody's falling short right now. Which is why we have to have a high priest 24/7, because we need him at that frequency.
Amen.
And the ones who need it most are the ones who think they don't need it at that frequency, or as much as you. Faith. A person can perform perfect with God and not trust him. Heard Gene Scott used to ask the question, what do you want most from your children? To be perfect kids or to trust you? If your parents, you all say you want your children to trust you. Right? You have a good kid. You take this good kid, this perfect kid you have, and you walk, hold his hand, walk down the street, and the kid don't go with you. Because he don't trust you. Pull his hand away from you. I don't know what because he do, because I don't trust you. A good kid. Perfect kid. But doesn't trust you. Ask him, are you sure you're going to be able to pay the light bill tomorrow? Good kid. Don't get no problem. Just doesn't trust you. That'd be miserable.
Yeah.
Always question me. Do we have breakfast tomorrow? I didn't see anything in the fridge. You did have a stove. That's when no, eat it on. Knock the kid out with him. But he's A student. He's on breakfast for his A brain to work, but he don't trust you to get it. He asks us when we go to the store. Did you buy food that check you got? And went for bills. That's for me. I shoot him. Just do time, get over. Get out of jail, gotta be gone. You gotta do that no more. You've been in jail 30 years. Yeah, what are you here for? I shot my kid. That little rat didn't trust me. So I took him out. You can't work with me no more, I can work by him. All these stories in the Bible have one point. For you to come to trust God. That's it. Without doubt. Everything you've ever gone through. You all been through some things. If you're married, you got kids, you pay rent, and car payments, and buy groceries and everything else. You come to situations that God has come through for you many times, and you know it. That's the only thing that brought you out. He came through.
Yes.
And he did it not because we ever deserved it.
Right.
No. He did it to get you to trust him. That's why he told Israel in Deuteronomy 8, he said, remember all the way I brought you. He told the guys, the disciples, after that feeding, when he said, do you not remember? Look at it. Mark. 13, 8:13. And he left them and entered into the ship again, departed to the other side. Now Mark puts a footnote here. Now the disciples have forgotten to take bread. Neither had they in the ship with them more than one loaf. Do the math. He had 7 loaves and fed 4,000. He had 5 loaves and fed 5,000. There's 12 of them in the boat with the loaf. What do you think? Is that loaf enough? Do the math. We got 1 loaf, 12 of us. We just up the scene where there's 4,000 of us, and only had 7 loaves. They fed everybody. They took up the fragments, the leftovers, and we had 7 baskets full. What do you think about this 1 loaf? Is it enough? What do you think? Unbelief or a hard heart will make you question it. Now, unbelief is such a deadly thing, it will affect literally what you hear from God. You got an illustration here. And understand, he came out of a scene with the Pharisees, verse 11. And the Pharisees came forth and began to question him, speaking of him, seeking of him a sign from heaven, tempting him. He sighed deeply in his spirit and said, why doth this generation seek after a sign? Because the Bible is very clear about signs. It says signs are for those who believe not. So the fact that they asked for a sign, they're telling Jesus, we don't believe you. So it's a sign. And that's when he gives this one sign. Verily I say unto you, that there shall no sign be given unto this generation. And he left him. Did y'all catch that? To those who were possible to be saved, he said there be no sign given except the sign of Jonah. But to this group, he says, there should no sign be given to this generation. Different people. That seed. The ones that were Christian, that we were going to talk about last week, that could not hear my word because your father's devil. You have to look, it's real subtle. It's not like Mark. Mark is the first writer of the Gospels. It comes in line second. But Mark was the first Gospel, and Matthew, Luke, and John used Mark's book for an outline to write their Bibles. So if it had been a part of the equation, Mark would have wrote it. Mark would have said, but the sign of Jonah. Jesus said, there shall no sign be given to this generation, and he left them. Why? There were those without, who cannot understand his speech because they cannot hear his word because they're the father of the devil and they cannot be saved. And they're still tempting him. But they're religious. Verse 15, he charged them, saying, take heed, beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and of the leaven of Herod. This group, I'm going to speculate here. It's pure speculation. He's talking about this group here, the leaven of the Pharisees, this branch of the Pharisees, and he throws King Herod in. We should realize right now, those at the top of this world worship Satan. There he is. So he says, shall I beware of their doctrine and beware of King Herod. It's another breed. Now I'm going to ask you a question, if I couldn't find it. Where in that verse do you see the word red? Look at it. It's on me. Looking good. It's not on my face. You find it?
Yeah.
I couldn't find either. I read over and over. Couldn't see it. Take heed. And if it's talking about bread, why would you have to beware of it? When you bought a loaf of bread last, it said beware in the package. Only thing I want to beware of when I buy bread is that it's not hard. I like hard bread. It can be cheap bread, that 99 cents a loaf, that plain wheat bread. It can be that. For soft bread, it's good to go. It can be 25 grain bread. If it's hard, I don't want it. Has to pass the soft test. It has to be squeezable. I'll pass a good bread to show up all day long for a squeezable bread loaf. You know? Sometimes we used to spend $3 or $4 for a bread, and the squeezable one is 99 cents. You buy 2 loaves. Make a bunch of sandwiches. And they reasoned among themselves, saying, it is because we have no bread. Where'd they get it from? Let me tell you, hard heart. Hard heart affects your hearing. And they took bread and they made it bread. Now here's the thing about it. That's just last night in this text, because I still couldn't get over it. The last time we had a bread issue, Philip, he asked him, what is the leader? It was like Philip and Peter were primary leaders. We get a group of 12 and have at least 2 leaders. He's the one that asked Jesus, Rome. So, us the Father. She had assumed that they all wanted to see the Father, and nobody had nerve to ask, so Philip did. And it suffices us. So I would dare say, I'm speculating again, that when Jesus asked Philip, where do we get the bread? It was an us thing. Philip and I probably speculated or spread the word among the group that it's time for them to go because I'm hungry. We're hungry. Now let's close this thing down. You've been teaching long enough. Because nobody ever showed any kind of different attitude. They brought the little lunch, or here's boys, little lunch, and when Jesus said, make everybody sit down, they all were all done. All 12 of them. This case here, how could get to visualize it? They're saying it's because we're going to take bread. They didn't say that. Philip and probably Peter said it. And the rest of them, without checking it out or using their brain and thinking, just went along with it. They got the message secondhand, that was good enough. I ain't gonna look and see, or you think logically, why are you supposed to beware of the bread? And when he said anything about bread in here, I thought he said beware of the leaven. Somebody thought that and never said it. All 12 of them weren't that done. What do you think? You know, my logic on left field? Well, what the rest of them do, that's what I'm with it. And went to a panic and got all worried and they talking to themselves, started reasoning themselves because we forgot to take bread. They always said, wait a minute. That's not the issue here at all. Can't mention bread. You think 1 out of 12 of them would have said that? Right? I mean, a hard heart is infectious. Nothing is as infectious and spreads as easily as a hard heart. And because of 1 or 2 doubting it, all 12 of them got it. Just like that.
Wow.
And didn't know it. Didn't know it. And when Jesus knew it, I mean, you gotta love Jesus more, because he certainly made a statement, gotten bored, and it's like a passing through statement. You know, like he went through this experience now with the Pharisee, and he just got bored and said, "What's up with the Pharisee and here's the doctor?" And then sit down or lay down. He was done with it. Then you hear this boat just rustling around and looking up on the train, trying to find this more than one loaf. Because we got this one. Imagine that scene, The Godfather, first Godfather movie, when he came home from the hospital after Sonny got shot. They said, come out, he said, your mother, Tom said, your mother's upstairs crying. And everybody seemed to know something that I don't know. And he said, I think maybe, tell me what's going on. And so Tom said, I was going to come and tell you just now. But he said, you gotta have a drink first, right? He said, yeah. I love this man, that's movie, okay, so I know all the lines. Have a drink first, right? He said, well, you've had your drink. Now tell me, that's when Sonny got shot. He just fell in the house, so there's something going on here. Everybody seems to know. They're like, no, that's how Jesus was in this boat here. There's something going on, they're all worried about something, you know? And it says, and when Jesus knew it, imagine what kind of change he went through. When he knew that these men were all upset and worried because they forgot to take bread. All he got is one loaf. And Jesus is on the boat. You grasping this? Yeah. They got upset about something that was not even an issue. Caused their hearts. And I said, well, not 12 of them, one or two of these leaders got the wrong idea and spread it to everybody, and they didn't even question it. They're not even about to bring up the words of what Jesus said. Is when they went with it. And the whole 12 of them are in a dither because of bread. Because one heard wrong. All 12 heard that message. Some are asking, what did he say? And some are sure he said nothing about bread. But they said, well, maybe I heard it wrong. Well, maybe you heard it right. If you heard it right, it's time to say something to those who heard it wrong. Asking too much? It's trying to correct the wrong hearers. Tell them to get that wrong. That's what he's saying. It calls for a brave soul-minded. It calls for a tough-minded saint. To tell somebody who seems to be a leader that that's wrong. You got to twist it. It's not what you said at all. Rather than everybody just going along with it, and okay, now we're all getting worried and upset. When Jesus knew it, that's what the message is. He said unto them, why reason you because you have no bread? He's astounded. He says, is that what this commercial is about because you have no bread? Perceive ye not? What the word mean? Understand. Neither understand? Have ye your heart yet hardened? He traces their non-perception and their non-understanding to their heart. And what did he say? Yet hardened? When was the first feeding was 5,000. This is after feeding the 4,000. Their hearts have been broken after the 5,000. When they asked Philip, what were he buying? He's trying to break their heart's thing. And then get broken. Now, I don't know what the time interval was, but it's after the feeding of 5,000. But it should have been done then. He should have only had to preach that message one time. Right. Then he got to come back and preach the second time of 4,000. After that preaching's all done, they still got the same kind of heart. yet hardened. He said, have you your heart yet hardened? A hardening of the heart takes place by you. He said, have you your heart's yet hardened? You're controlled. I just think about Pharaoh. God told Moses going to harden his heart. Right? And in my younger days of saying, I didn't understand. I thought that was like, he didn't have a chance. Poor Pharaoh. Well, God already said to Moses at the burning bush, I'm going to harden his heart. So he won't let him go. I'm going to keep on hardening his heart until I kill his firstborn son. I thought that was just, I never questioned God, that kind of stuff, but it didn't fit. Should not the judge of all the earth do right? Right? So I guess God got the right to harden hearts and give himself a reason for doing his judgment. That's how I went along with it. Then I read the whole story. And the real house says, and God, I think the first 4 times it makes a reference to it, it says he hardened Pharaoh's heart. He said, I will harden Pharaoh's heart 4 times. Then you keep on reading up there, it says, and Pharaoh hardened his heart. So God
Harden his own heart.
How did God harden Pharaoh's heart? By showing him, I'm God, you ain't. Because Pharaoh thought he was God. And so God had a showdown. Every time God went to showdown, Pharaoh had to call Moses back. You know, what's the expression? Eat crow? Is that it? Yeah. He had egg on his face. And imagine this Pharaoh who thinks he's God, got to call Moses, the stutterer, in and say, ask God to take away this darkness. So I'll let him go. And Moses prayed and the darkness went away. Then Pharaoh changed his mind. They're not going nowhere. Heart's hard. Pharaoh kept looking at each one of those miracles and plagues, you know, God got me that time. But I'm still Pharaoh. And they ain't gonna know it until I say so.
Wow.
No matter what God showed him as him being God, Pharaoh decided that I'm not going to acknowledge that because I'm Pharaoh. Pharaoh's saying, he's thinking. I mean, his magicians imitated the first 3 plagues. I think it was the water turned to blood, the frogs, and one more. Back to the first 3, they couldn't do no more Janus and Jambres. They told Pharaoh, they said, these things are the hands of the Lord. This is the power that we don't know anything about. Pharaoh just said, okay, let's let them go. That's what Janus and Jambres trying to tell Pharaoh a nice way. You're going to come out better letting them go. When they finally left Egypt, Egypt had nothing. He stripped them of his vegetation, his fruit, the farms, the livestock, the fish, everything dead, stinking, and stripped. There's nothing left. This is the finest land in the world. This is where the Hebrew children, Jacob's descendants, they went there to buy food in the family. Egypt had it going on. And because of Pharaoh's hard heart, he lost everything. And eventually lost his life. Because his hard heart drove him to the Red Sea. I'm going to get him. And then God drowned him and ended it. That's sad. To go that far to lose your life because of your heart. That's the Pharaoh there. So these guys here, he said, have you no understanding? Have you your heart yet hardened? What you saying? That's the reason he asked Philip about the word revive from, because Philip and the rest of the group had hard hearts. He's trying to break them. So he made them servants and ushers and waiters and busboys. And it still didn't work. They left him that hard heart. So he did it again. He came in, had them sit down and fix it and come and say, we're going to do this all over again. Drill number 2. All over. The numbers changed, but so, you know, you can make a big deal about the 7 loaves and 5 loaves. It's never going to matter with 4,000 and 5,000. Doesn't it? But if you're going to use those numbers for comparison basis, then 1 loaf on the boat should have been enough. We got Jesus, you know.
That's right.
He can make a loaf each for us. And still have leftovers. They're panicking, looking on a place because we forgot to take bread. Oh my God. Hard heart messes up your reasoning ability. You can't figure out where God's coming from. You can't understand God. There's no logic with God. It's just that I got, I'm thinking here and it don't make sense. Having eyes, that'll knock me out. Having eyes, see ye not, and having ears, hear ye not, and do you not remember? Walking with God is a memory exercise.
Yes.
You got to remember what God has done, and to remember His Word and what He can do, and remember it. And don't lose your memory over the event.
All right.
When I break the 5 loaves among you, among the 5,000, how many baskets of fragments you took up? They said to him, 12. That's how they answered him, so. He said, 12? No, he's berating him. Remember when I took 5 loaves and fed 5,000, and how many baskets you took up? Well, that's a question when somebody want to ask you. And when the 7 among 4,000, how many baskets full of fragments took you up? They said, 7. He said to them, how is it that you do not understand? That was a rhetorical question.
Right.
That didn't call for an answer. He said, how is it? Here's how it is, because you have a hard heart. He said, continue having a hard heart. I want you to give me 12 more. Because it can't work with you. After the Spirit mentions on prophecy and Antichrist, because you got a hard heart. I got to break that first because I'm going to see some things that are so astounding in the next few months to come that your hard heart won't let you hear them.
Wow.
So I got to break that first so I can talk to you.
Yeah.
That's what God's doing. Okay? Understand, that's it.
Right.
Come on, sister.